Hugh from ClickFunnels support here. So in this video, I'm just going to go over how we can configure the divider element. Oftentimes on a page, you'll want to do something to visually break up or divide different sections in your page. You can do this at any point using borders on the rows. So for example, if we want to add a divider between these two headlines, we could create a second one column row, move this element into that, and then set a border either on the top row by going into Advanced, selecting Border, and selecting Bottom Only. Or we could do the reverse by choosing the bottom row, going into Advanced, selecting Top Only, and configuring it that way. However, because this is such an often used technique, we have included an element that'll help speed things up a little bit. So we'll cut things down to a one column row. We'll add in a headline and code it to bring us back to our original starting point. We now have a simple page setup with only two headlines on it. So we'll start by adding a divider. We can click on content to get a subselection of just the content related elements. To get into the settings for the element, we can click on the element itself, or we can hover over it and then click on the gears icon. Here, there's a number of things we can adjust, starting with the top margin. We can adjust the width, which is the percent of the row that we want to actually fill. So with 100%, it fills the entire row. And with 50%, it fills half of it. Additionally, we can adjust the alignment, choosing from left, right, or center. We can set the height or the thickness of the divider from 1 pixels all the way up to 60. We can choose a style from solid, dashed, or dotted, and we can configure a color. We can get some additional options by clicking on the Advanced tab. By default, the Styles tab will be pre-selected. Here, we can adjust the padding on the top from 50 to 0 pixels, as well as the padding on the bottom, again going from 50 to 0 pixels. We can add a shadow, choosing from bottom light, bottom dark, or full light and full dark, which will do it on both the top and the bottom. Finally, we can click on the Animation tab here and set up a time delay, choosing from Fade In or Fade In with Scale. If I set this to 1 minute and 30 seconds, for example, the divider element will not come into view on the screen until 1 minute and 30 seconds after the page has initially been loaded. Finally, we can set up an animation, choosing from On-Page Load or On-Page Scroll. On-Page Load will take effect as soon as the page is loaded. On-Page Scroll will only take effect when the element in question actually comes into view for the user. And from there, we can choose a style and set a delay in milliseconds. So hopefully this helps clear things up a little bit in terms of how you can configure the divider element inside of the ClickFunnels editor. If you do have some more questions though, or anything like that, definitely go ahead and let us know in support chat.